You're watching the Green Hyundai Friday Night Rivals preview show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Green Hyundai Friday Night Rivals preview show. For the next half hour, we will preview all the games and tonight's CEFCU Friday Night Rivals Game of the Week. Joining us now from our Game of the Week is Paul Wapple and Adam Anderson. They're going to bring you the sights and sounds of tonight's game. What are your initial thoughts here on tonight's contest, guys?
Thanks very much. First of all, initial thoughts are the weather's outstanding. Great job to everybody involved. A lot different than last week, right, Adam?
Yeah, a lot different. I can, my shirt isn't sticking to me. I don't need a towel to wipe my face off so I can see, but it's beautiful out here in Auburn. If you can get out to a game tonight, get out to a game. It's going to be a beautiful night for football.
It should be a good game. I think these two teams are pretty evenly matched. Auburn lost their opener to Williamsville. They still scored a lot of points in the loss. New Berlin won their opener, scored 47 points against Pleasant Plains. What do you think, Adam?
I mean, you got two evenly matched teams, and I hate to put that this is a must-win for both teams, but, in a 9-week season, a Week 2 game does mean a whole lot, and if both these teams want to make the playoffs, Auburn did last year, New Berlin came up a game short, I think this is a game they need to win tonight.
Auburn has 4 seniors at skill positions, quarterback, running back, 2 receivers. They also have a pretty darn good offensive lineman and defensive lineman. Number 50, Jet Cocaine, probably be calling his name a lot tonight.
Yeah, and Jack Jones at quarterback, he's going to sling it around tonight. Got a little bit of wind out here. The corn's actually down, so maybe it's going to be a little bit windier here once the sun goes down, but he's special at quarterback. He can put the ball over the field.
Should be a good game tonight. 1-0 for New Berlin, Auburn 0-1, and it should be a great night.
Thanks, guys. With that, let's jump right into things and meet our first team. The home team tonight, the Auburn Trojans in Week 1. They fell at the hands of Williamsville after a 2-hour delay, but the Trojans, they're back and ready to go in their 2024 home opener.
We are as closely knit as you can get as a community. We have a lot of alumni that stick around and come out for games, and we put ourselves out there as being a family and a brotherhood of football players.
That's Auburn football, a program ingrained in the community, one that returns to Friday Night Rivals knowing they'll have to win the battle up front.
Yeah, tough opponent. We see that they're running the wishbone the whole time, and we have a good box, good outside linebackers, and I feel like we're gonna be able to stop them.
Yeah, they're going to be intense. Priority number 1 is to be violent and be physical up front.
They aren't just focused on what they have to stop. The Trojans are ready to attack on offense, backed by their experience.
We have a lot of variety. We can run with our receivers. We can pass with them. Our linemen know what to do. They're experienced enough. Our running backs, I think we just have experience and we have knowledge of the game, and we have that to our advantage.
Auburn has been a team in the playoff mix, but they're ready to take the next step.
Our goals has always been playoffs, but we're a little bit bigger than this year. We're trying to get to the next level of that because we've usually been one-rounder.
But in order to reach that goal, they're only focused on the next game.
Our motto this year is one more game. So last week we went 0-1, so this week we're looking to go 1-0. That's really all we care about.
Say the goal is one more game every day. Every time we go out and play a game, we just think one more game to go and just go and win the next one.
And to win tonight, it's about doing their job and enduring the early pretzel push.
Execute. About it. Execute.
Weather the storm. If we can weather the storm of their emotional high coming out of the first quarter, I think that we have the depth and the maturity to be able to do that and get it done in 4 quarters.
And time is up. Auburn back on Friday Night Rivals as our host here for Week 2. The Trojans having to rebound after that tough loss to Williamsville. How do you guys feel about Auburn entering this one?
Yeah, I think Auburn's going to have a tough time tonight, but I think they're up to it. They're at home. They played, you start out against Williamsville Week 1. Williamsville, of course, favored to win the Sangamo Conference. They did score a lot of points, Auburn did, but Adam, what do you think?
I mean, Auburn does have a tough challenge in front of them. There's no doubt about it. They did come out, and I thought they played pretty well against Williamsville. The weather delay, they started late. They actually were one of the few games that did finish Friday night. So I think Coach Gardner saw some things that he liked, but there are also some penalties, some turnovers, some things that they have to take care of if they want to win a close game like it could be tonight.
Sammy?
And now we switch gears to our visitors, New Berlin, a team that put on a show in Week 1 against Pleasant Plains, including 2 different guys scoring 3 touchdowns. They are now on the road looking to make it 2-0 to start the new year.
The Pretzels kicked off 2024 with a bang, a big win, where things were clicking as New Berlin pounded the rock.
It kind of went the way I thought it was going to go. We've been working on this new stuff since all summer, and we were clicking.
I think we just pounded the rock. Obviously, we had probably 300 371 rushing yards, that was the goal. Yeah, we scored a lot of points too, so that helped.
It's a team entering their second year with Coach Don Balker, and they now know what to do and are realizing their potential.
They've been under me and Coach Q, our defensive coordinator. It was our first year last year. This is our second year coming into everything, and they know it. They know what to expect. They know what to do. But I think the one thing that is changing is a team that is going to be in the playoffs every single year, and I think that's what they're starting to believe in.
New Berlin, Waverly, and Franklin all playing together, making for a unique group and connection.
I would say I think we're the only team about in the conference that has 3 teams or 3 schools come together for one, and it's cool seeing everyone bond and talk and make friendships out of this. So.
It's great because, half these kids you don't see every day. With Waverly, we see everybody, but I don't see these New Berlin kids all day at school or the Franklin kids.
And to win tonight, the Pretzels are focused on the run game and shut down defense.
I'd say pound the rock, just like last game.
Yeah, I think if we just shut them down defensive-wise, I think we have a good shot because I think our offense can keep going.
We don't let them score.
A great point there from Coach. Don't let them score. Sounds simple enough, right? Adam, are the visitors going into Auburn, and are they going to get their second win of the year?
We'll see. One of the keys is, we know that New Berlin, the Pretzels are going to pound it on the ground. Last week, they got 252 yards from Gabe Lyons and senior Clark Nelson. So the Pretzels will go, I think, as their ground game goes.
Yeah, definitely. And you want to keep an eye on Clark Nelson. He's kind of the straw that stirs the drink there for the Pretzels. He's going to be all over the field. He'll be in the backfield. He'll split him out wide. He'll catch kicks and punts. So Auburn really needs to keep track of where he is on the field. And both these teams are going to have physical mindsets. Both coaches, best friends, grew up together, went to college together, coached together. So they have similar mindsets. They want to out-physical each other. New Berlin did that last week against Pleasant Plains. It'll be interesting to see if they can do it tonight.
This game last year was 7 points, and this is a big game tonight.
This is a huge game tonight. Again, we talked about coaches are friends. We're close in proximity. They're rivals in about every other sport, just right down the road from one another. The crowd's coming in. Auburn's a great place to watch a football game, too, so I expect a big crowd and with this big game tonight.
Yeah, and, to get into the playoffs, you got to be 5-4. New Berlin, 4-5, just missed it last year.
Out, yeah.
Auburn did make the playoffs, so that's why I say this is an even bigger game for week 2. It's huge for both these teams.
It's cliche to say it week 2, but in 9 weeks, every game's big.
It absolutely is. So, Sammy?
Thanks, Paul and Adam. We'll be checking back in with you guys in a few minutes. But first, it's time for our Green Certified West GOATs of the game. With our 1 week under the belt, these 2 standouts for week 2 had a big impact in their first games and are sure to provide another healthy bit of production here in week 2. First, for our visitors, it's Clark Nelson, a senior running back who, alongside Game Lions, poured in 3 touchdowns as that 2-headed beast of Nelson and Lions dominated week 1, and it sure could be the same thing this week. Over to Auburn, it's their starting quarterback, Jack Jones, who added 2 passing touchdowns in their tough loss to Williamsville. He was a playmaker for them, expanding the field, and they'll need him to step up again here in week 2. Now, we've gone all over our game of the week, but coming after the break, still plenty more action tonight. We have to talk about some of the bigger games, including first home games this season for Rochester and SHG.
Welcome back to the Green Hyundai Friday Night Rivals preview show.
Welcome back to the Green Hyundai Friday Night Rivals pregame show. Now, we talked about our F&R game of the week. Now let's transition into some of the other action here in Central Illinois. Quite a few games we have our eyes on. So let's bring Paul and Adam back in here to break down the rest of our Friday slate of games. First game I want to highlight here is a big one over at Rochester. Another Missouri powerhouse facing off against one of Central Illinois' finest, Cardinal Ritter. Led by University of Illinois commit Carson Boyd, the Lions starting quarterback. A big-time challenge coming here for the Rockets. What are we expecting from that heavyweight matchup?
It is a heavyweight matchup, Rochester and Cardinal Ritter. Cardinal Ritter is loaded. They won the Class 5A state title in Missouri last year. In addition to the Illinois commit, they also have Jamarian Parker. He's committed to go to the University of Nebraska, so no shortage of talent for Cardinal Ritter tonight. They are really, really explosive and tough.
I think Cardinal Ritter, if you look at the top 50 high school football players in Missouri, I think they had 10. and they could be the class of the whole state of Missouri. Now they're crossing the river and coming up to Sangamon County. They're going to be in for a fight. We both know how Derek Leonard is. He's not going to back down to anybody. If you feel like you need to go see a game, that'd be a good game to watch. Make sure you just keep your phone with you so you can watch Friday Night Rivals as well.
And Rochester only had 2 starters back on offense, a quarterback and center, but you know what? They just reloaded Rochester, don't they?
And from everybody I talked to, that Simeon game, that score could have been a lot more. I don't think the officials were quite ready for the speed Rochester likes to go at. It slowed them down a little bit. They had some mistakes, but they were firmly in control of that game. So it'll be interesting, their progression now to week 2 and how they do against a really, really tough Cardinal Rudder team.
One thing I think you'll see tonight, Sammy, I think in that game you'll see a lot of points.
Yeah.
Rochester and Cardinal Ritter.
Hey guys, now switching gears to a team that got a little slow out of the gates. Sacred Heart Griffin, a tough road loss at Christian Brothers last Friday. What are the Cyclones going to have to do to rebound here in this week?
Well, the Cyclones got shut out for the first time since, I'm going to date myself and some other things a little bit, since 1998, the Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa home run chase. That's the last time SHG was shut out.
And I remember I was in 8th grade, so I do remember when that happened. But for Cyclone Nation watching, the sky is not falling. You have a really, really good football team. You played what also might be the top team in the state of Missouri in CBC. So a perfect game to rebound against Mascoutah. They're very young. I heard on the radio on the way over here they might be starting a freshman on the offensive line tonight. So good things are going to happen. They just need to get a little experience under their belt.
And the Cyclones went up against one of the top receivers in the country last week.
Yeah.
USC commit, 3 touchdowns. Incredible night. And like I said, SHG played an amazing team last week.
Yeah, you know, East St. Louis and their scrimmage and then CBC, they're not going to see speed like that probably until late November, if and when they do get that far. But that will set them up to play a tough CS8 schedule that's coming up. And Mascoutah is going to be a matchup for them tonight. I think they should be favored. But again, they're very young. They're going to take some lumps here early in the season, but I think they'll get it together.
I think so too. I think the Cyclones will win a close one against Mascoutah, but we'll wait and see. Sammy, back to you.
Thanks, Paul and Adam. Now turning to the eastern side of the state. Let's check in with our Carson Gordy. And Carson, what major matchups can we expect to see tonight in the Champaign area?
Just real quick, are you wearing a maroon suit? I am too. I think we're matching from the capital city and also Champaign. But anyway, back to the football field. Week 1 doesn't always go according to plan. There's weather cancellations, rusty offenses, you name it. But it's a long season, and week 2 is a good time to right the ship. And we have a crosstown battle in Champaign as Centennial taking on Central. Both the squads coming into Friday night's matchup with a 0-1 record. The Chargers lost to Peoria last week 56-21, but quarterback Kellen Davis is one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the area. The senior has college offers to play defense, but right now the focus for Davis is to kickstart that offense for the Chargers. And Champaign Central dropped their week 1 game against Springfield 44-12. This is a very experienced team. Their 3 top wide receivers and quarterbacks are all seniors, and they look to knock off Centennial for the first time in their high school careers. And Danville is making the trip over to take on the Urbana Tigers. Both squads looking to check off their first win of 2024. And for the Tigers, they're looking for their first win as a program since 2019. The varsity program was shelved for a few seasons and just came back last year. The Tigers dropped the week 1 matchup against St. Teresa 40-8. And for Danville, Bloomington was just too much to them last week, dropping a 41-14 ball game. Danville has not missed the playoffs since 2018, so a win tonight would help get them on the right track. And Danville and Urbana met last year for the regular season finale. Danville knocked off the Tigers 71-0. And there's also plenty of games from around Central Illinois. Mount Zion's taking on Trinidad. Mount Zion has one of the best pass-catching duos with J.C. Anderson and Brandon Trimble. Then we also have Tolueno Unity and St. Joseph Ogden. Unity's looking for revenge last year. They lost a heartbreaking 3-point game against St. Joe's Ogden. And Effingham is traveling all the way down to Mount Carmel. These are 2 high-scoring offenses, but hey, somebody has to lose today. And as long as we don't have canceled games like last week, I think week 2 should be a pretty fun one. I'll be at multiple games this week and back with highlights later tonight. Back to you, Sammy.
Thanks, Carson. And don't forget, we'll have all the highlights from tonight's game coming up in our CFQ Friday Night Rivals recap show. The recap shows kick off at 10:15 over on News Channel 20, and I'll be breaking down the action from the gridiron again. That's tonight at 10:15. And after the break, we'll check in with the rest of our Friday Night Rivals team, including a weather update from our own Darren Leeds.
Welcome back to the Green Hyundai Friday Night Rivals preview show.
Welcome back to the Green Hyundai Friday Night Rivals preview show. We're going to be heading out back to Athens to check in with the rest of our Friday Night Rivals crew, starting with meteorologist Darren Leeds for a look at the football forecast. Darren?
Well, hey, Sammy, and yeah, we should have much better weather conditions for our Friday night football games tonight compared to what we dealt with last week with the thunder, lightning, and a number of cancellations, not to mention some of that rain. Sky is pretty much clear at this point in time, although looking up to our north, we do have a few of these minor showers pushing towards the Peoria area. Even if those track into central Illinois, they're pretty much going to offer minimal rain shower activity. We should watch those skies clear up as we go throughout the rest of our evening, and as skies are clearing, temperatures are cooling. Our Friday Night Rivals game of the week, New Berlin taking on Athens at home, and our numbers cooling down into those mid and low 60s, especially by the third and fourth quarters. So maybe you want that extra layer out at the game for this evening. Winds still look like they're going to be just a little bit breezy, but again, those should also be calming down once we start to get past those sunset hours. Otherwise, should be perfect Friday night football conditions, things looking warmer as we're going into next week's games.
Now we're going to send it out here to our Spencer, and he's going to be live, and I think he's interviewing a concession worker. Spencer, take it away.
Yeah, you know where my heart lies. It's with food and football, but nothing goes together better than food and football, and that's exactly what I found myself in the middle of. Glad to be here at the concession stand right next to the grill. Who am I talking to right now?
Lindy Povich.
So hi, Lindy. Talk to me a little bit about, it's loud, obviously, it's a football game. What kind of foods are you guys serving up here at the concession stand?
So we have ribeye sandwiches, pork chops, popcorn, all kinds of candy, and then pretzel dogs.
Awesome. And what are these proceeds going to?
So the JFL program here, the parents work and volunteer their time, and then the proceeds go back to the JFL program.
Awesome. So how long do you guys take to get all this going? I mean, like, this has been going on forever. It's been a steady stream of people getting sandwiches and...
Yes. So the kickoff isn't until 7, but people will come at like 5:30, ready to eat. And so they will, we try to get here like usually around 3:30 or 4 to get things started and thawed and that kind of thing. The grillers get here early and try to get the grill going. So usually about 4:30 things are really kicked off. Yeah.
Wow. And so do you have a favorite menu item here?
Yeah, mine is the ribeye sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got one right there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, it smells fantastic. The seasoning that you guys are using, is there any secret to all this? If you can share.
I can't share it. That's the griller's secret. So, but they try to get a good cut of meat, and then people come here and line up, as you've seen, for the pork chops and the ribeye sandwiches. And then the pretzel dogs were new last year, but I think they've been a hit.
It sounds like it's been a hit. We can't wait to watch football, and I know that I've got a sandwich waiting for me. It's great talking to you, Lindy.
Thank you. Go Trojans.
Back to you.
Thanks, Spencer. I do have to say, a little messed up that you didn't have a sandwich for me. You better be bringing one back after all this ends. But when we come back, we'll wrap up our Green Hyundai preview show before sending things out to Paul and Adam and Spencer for our Friday Night Rivals Game of the Week.
Welcome back to the Green Hyundai Friday Night Rivals preview show.
Now we open up here with a shot of our, during the anthem, of course, playing the national anthem. A beautiful shot there of the flag as we are moments away from kickoff in our Friday Night Rivals Game of the Week. But after this Game of the Week, it's not going to be our only game. We'll be back next week for our CFQ Friday Night Rivals Game of the Week in game week 3. And that's going to be highlighted by Jacksonville and SHG. A big-time matchup. We talked about the Cyclones rough start to the season in week 1. They're going to try and rebound in week 2, but week 3, they'll be hosting Jacksonville and the Crimsons. But then we're going to switch gears to the rest of the slate. We have plenty of football coming here on Friday Night Rivals throughout the rest of the year. Already had Monroe, Forsyth, and Athens, New Berlin and Auburn on the docket today, and of course Jacksonville SHG. But we have Quincy, Notre Dame, and Springfield after our week-long break. Mahomet Seymour, Mount Zion, one I have circled, certainly Pittsfield, taking on Pleasant Plains there on 10-11. Again, got a shout out 2 days before the birthday. Monroe Forsyth, they return to FNR as they take on Williamsville. That'll be a heavyweight battle. One of my favorite games on the schedule the entire year. And then we'll wrap things up there with Springfield at Glenwood. Now, finishing things off, we're going to finish off with a quick little prediction. I think I'm going to have to go with New Berlin in this one. That dynamic duo they have in the backfield, I think will be a little bit too much. But again, I would not be surprised to see another one-score game. But that'll do it for now. And make sure to tune back in here when we have post-game show at 10:15.